I'm Eric Pepper, Professor of Holistic Health at San Francisco State University at the Institute for Holistic Health Studies. The following is a practice to demonstrate how thoughts affect body. June, would you be my participant? Pair up with another person just like this. What we'll do is we will explore how thoughts affect the perception of strength. It will consist of three components. One, testing which arm feels stronger. Two, one type of imagery. And three, the second type of imagery. Okay, step one, testing the strength of the arm. What I'd like you to do is lift your arm up, just like this. I'm going to put my hand on your wrist, just like that. I sort of have my other hand on your shoulder to stabilize you. And now I'm going to ask you to resist my downward pressure on your arm. Okay, so you're bringing up, and I'm sort of feeling your strength in your arm. Very good. That's enough. Then we check the other arm. We repeat the same thing. I press down, resist. Good enough. So I have a subjective sense of strength. The reason of this pre-test is to identify which arm feels stronger, because sometimes people have injury to their one shoulder or the other shoulder, and we only want to do the testing with the shoulder or arm that feels healthy. So my guess is I'll just do this only with your left arm. Is that correct?
Correct.
Because that felt better and stronger. As you're standing here, I'd like you to think of a memory when you felt hopeless, helpless, powerless, or defeated. And really capture that memory. And when you have it, sort of nod your head up and down. You got it? Good. So now we retest you. I'd like you to resist. No, you're supposed to resist. Okay, good. Now let that memory go. Okay. Now I'd like you to think of a memory when you felt empowered, optimistic, all positive. And when you have that memory, really nod your head. Yes, good. We'll test you again. I'd like you to resist. Good, that's enough. What I felt is that the second memory, your arm was much stronger. And how was that for you?
It did feel much stronger the second time around.
And what is the difference in that sense inside?
Well, the first thought I was really anxious. The memory I had made me really anxious, kind of nervous, and very uneasy.
Yes.
And I think so much focus on that made this arm weaker. Whereas the second one, where I felt more empowered, I felt my body was just much more sturdier.
Correct. Okay. Often what happens for people as well is when they think of this hopeless, helpless feeling, or that memory, when they now make an attempt to resist, they almost don't have the willpower to hold it up, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when we do this with other people, it may be possible that I am biased. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I already know this works.
Yes.
Because I've done this, right? Both in class. So what I like to do is do it in a different way with the two other people.
Okay.
In which what they'll do is they'll do the same thing as we did.
Mm-hmm.
One, they'll test which arm is stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Then the person is going to think one memory without the tester knowing what it is.
Okay.
And then they think of the second memory without the tester knowing what it is. And then to see if the person who's testing could identify that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, that
Great.
makes sense.
Why don't we do that? So now we'll have two other people, Lena and Paul. I'll let Lena and Paul just stand there. Okay. The reason of having the person do it from their back is because it will not show the facial expressions which sometimes people experience or show when they're thinking one memory or the other. So it's even more a single blind study. Step one, testing the strength of both arms to find out which is stronger. So you bring the left arm up, put your right hand on the person's shoulder, and now press on their wrist and press down, get a sense of that, good. Then do the opposite arm. Good. And now Which arm are you going to test here after?
The right arm.
Okay, so we can see it easier, okay? Great. Now what I'd like you to do, have Paul think of one of the memories, either the hopeless, helpless, powerless, defeated memory, or the empowering, optimistic, positive memory. Don't tell Lena what it is, just when you have the memory, one of those, nod your head up and down. Okay, and Lena now test his right arm. Good. Now at this point, let the memory go, and now think of the opposite memory. Good. And Lena, which one do you think was stronger, the first or the second memory?
The second memory.
And does that match for you?
Yep.
And what did you experience inside you, Paul?
I just, with the first one, there wasn't like, I felt like my body just couldn't hold it. There was just nothing there. And then with the second memory, it was just more stable. I felt like I had a stronger foundation.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you both. This exercise of muscle testing is a very powerful demonstration that thoughts affect your strength, and in many ways is a metaphor for your immune system and health. When you think only of hopeless, powerless, helpless memories, as if the whole body constricts, collapses, and in fact it compromises our health. On the other hand, when we think of empowering thoughts and memories, we feel more radiant, more positive, and that also augments our health. When we do this exercise in groups, it's important to remember that most people have this experience, as was demonstrated with Paul and Lena. However, about 2% or so, they have the opposite experience. They report that when they think of the hopeless, helpless memory, they feel stronger. And what really usually happens then, they thought of a memory that was of resentment and anger. It's like, ah! And so they really didn't take that one that was helpless or powerless. And then every so often you have a person who doesn't capture any memories, they're just outside, nothing comes up. Or they are captured by one of the memories and they cannot let go. And for about 98% of the students, when they do this practice, they really experience a significant difference. And what is so interesting is that when you look from the person from behind, it is hard to know what memory they were doing. For most people, in some cases, yes, you can see the person almost when they think the hopeless memory, they collapse a bit, it becomes obvious. However, in many cases, you don't notice any difference. And yet there's this big change in the response. So the lesson to learn from this is really be careful what you think.